to share a story about a story. Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, for as long as words were spoken, before even words were written, there were storytellers, and there were people who listened to hear the stories. In our rural areas where I come from, besides the family and community, dancing, singing. Now, those who want to talk to you about the gift of storytelling. I was told that if you want to know about a culture, you need to listen to their stories. You need to learn their music. In Zimbabwe, they say, if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. In my home village, you would find old men sitting and leaning against the logs that surrounds a kraal, drinking Nkonzo, traditional beer, passing ukamba from a person to a person. They would say, "Pulza dlamini, drink dlamini, drink." And they talk about different subjects. They talk about women, they talk about children, they talk about life. And then after a while, a song will start. Humble, humble, where have you been? Humble, humble, have you been? Round the world and back again. Round the world and back again. Humble, humble, have you been? Humble, humble, have you been? Round the world and back again. Round the world and back again. Humble, humble, where's your wife? In the kitchen making beer. Humble, humble, where's your son? In the river fetching water. Humble, humble, where's your son? My son is far, far away in the fields. He's there fetching cattle, one man would say. Now, the song goes on again. Stories, stories, have you been? Round the world and back again. Stories, stories, have you been? Round and round and long time ago, when the traditional beer was discovered, one man who discovered it, tasted it, and then he said the most important words in the dinner table. He said, He passed it to his neighbor. The neighbor drank it, and he said, He moved it to the next neighbor. That neighbor moved it to the other neighbor. The neighbor moved it to the other neighbor. The kabalash, Nkonzo, moved all around from a person to a person. Now, what they shared there is not just the experience of drinking the beer, the traditional beer, but they build a community. This is the same with storytelling. When you tell a story, you build a community. You build something large. You build something larger than a community. In the same way, the stories would go from one village to another village to another village. Now, all cultures have had this oral tradition. From Europe, we get once upon a time. In the West Africa, we get a story, let it come, let it go. The Xhosa people would say, "Kwasuka sukela." All of this is about telling stories. Now, in the wilderness, there is a deer and a lion. When a deer wakes up, it knows that it needs to run and run and run faster than the fastest lion. Otherwise, it will be eaten. On the other side, there is a lion, and the lion knows that when it wakes up, it must run. It must run. It must run faster than the slowest deer. Otherwise, it will go hungry. Now, life is like that. When you wake up, it doesn't matter whether you are a lion or you are a deer. When the sun rises, you need to wake up and you need to run. Otherwise, you won't survive. Story, story, have you been round and back again? Story, story, have you been round and back again? Mr. Toastmaster.